A big event is happening in the world of digital goods that most people haven't heard about. One story says that a big game of financial power is going on behind the scenes, out of sight of the media. There is a chance that one or more entities could totally change the cryptocurrency markets and make one place the future of digital wealth, according to a number of experts on blockchain. And federal investigators have found that JPMorgan Chase, the biggest bank in the United States, has been buying a lot of XRP tokens. According to what they said, they bought about 20 billion XRP and are now keeping it in cold storage using a complicated network of anonymous wallets and custody solutions that can be used by businesses. As per the claims, JPMorgan currently holds around 20% of all the XRP that is in circulation. When it comes, this gives them too much power in a market that was meant to be decentralized. Take a step back. A lot of people at JPMorgan have been against Bitcoin for a long time. Chief Executive Officer Jaime Dimon of the company has said that Bitcoin is a scam, and that he has a lot of doubts about blockchain technologies. On the other hand, the public was told to stay away, and JPMorgan was building in secret. Because of this, they came up with JPM Currency, a private blockchain system that lets big customers make transactions. After that, they started giving their rich clients access to cryptocurrency, which is another way of saying that they introduced them to the idea of digital assets. Besides that, they set up custody companies to help keep those riches safe. At this point, there is proof that they have gone one step further and have quietly cornered the XRP market. To learn how liquidity will work in the future, at first, there were some strange moves on the chain. Along with huge amounts of XRP, hundreds of millions of XRP tokens were being sent to new wallets at the same time. There is no record of these wallets passed, and they could not be any way that can be seen. That being said, as the experts began to put the pieces together, patterns began to show up. It's interesting to think about how close the first wallets were made to each other. Little to no change could be found in how transactions were done. It was also interesting to see that the time zone showed that the group started out in the Western world. Then the real find was made public. A lot of these wallets sent XRP to addresses that were kept cold by an institutional-grade server that works with a JPMorgan-owned business. At this spot, there were no retail sales going on. The moving of money was done by more than a few whales. A group of people worked together to get XRP in a way that was honest, quiet, and didn't set off any alarms. Let's now look at the reasons why. A big bank like JPMorgan might be wondering why it would want to own so much XRP. Power is the answer. It's true what you said, XRP is trickier than it seems at first. Was meant to be used as a bridge asset for funds sent between countries. It works really fast, doesn't cost much, and was created to grow together with you. One more thing you should know is that it already works with banks and other banking institutions around the world. As things stand, the world's financial system is moving toward tokenized value transfer. XRP will be one of the most valuable currencies in this new system. The reason for this is that tokenized value transfer already exists. JPMorgan could become a digital watchdog if it keeps 21 billion XRP. In this way, they could control supply, decide how much money is available, and maybe even charge people to join. So, this is the same approach that big businesses have been using for years in more traditional fields. This makes it harder for people to find a place to live, which leads to higher rents. One example is private equity companies that buy up homes. This is also something that people who trade goods do. They put the oil there in case there isn't enough. In order to reach their goals, they need to have control over the market. It's possible that JPMorgan is doing the same thing with XRP by putting a big chunk of the total amount into a savings account. In a way, they are creating a fake sense of lack. The goal of this move is similar to ones we've seen before, to have power over the market. In addition, the effect is very strong when there is a lack of supply and a rise in demand, especially from central banks and companies that work with financial technology. Because the market is under so much pressure, prices need to go up right along with it. If there was a supply cap this big for XRP, models show that the price of each currency could go up to $20,000 or even more. Let's go over the facts now. Even though up to 100 billion XRP can be made, there are only 50 to 55 billion in circulation right now. Because of this, there is a lot less cash on hand if JPMorgan is really keeping $20 billion in cold storage, instead of holding it for a long time like Bitcoin. Short-term trades are what the token is meant to be used for. No longer having XRP on the market will make it much harder for people to buy and sell things around the world. If you try to run a global trade system with only half of its fuel, the price of the remaining XRP will go through the roof, which is very dangerous. As more assets are tokenized, more CBDCs are used, and more countries join the real world, the need for cryptocurrencies is likely to keep growing at a rate that no one is really ready for. Because the real goal is not just to make XRP more valuable, but to make everything their own. If this much XRP is owned by one bank, that bank can choose which other banks can use it. It is possible for them to charge extra for using it. The way money moves between countries could change because of what they do. They make it possible to send digital money to other people in a secret way. Setting up different tools is no longer something we care about. One group is in charge of setting the rules and collecting the fees, so it turns into a regulated place. In the history of cryptography, this amount of control has never been used before. It would be the first time a regular bank managed a decentralized network, and they wouldn't be building something new to do it. Instead, they would buy the infrastructure to escape having to build something new. Not getting it right. JPMORGAN has the money, the connections, and the legal right to do what it needs to do. Not many people are paying attention to them, even though they are using one of the smartest financial strategies ever. This is because of all the governmental drama and meme currencies. What is the most scary thing about the situation? Not many people are still selling. XRP is still worth less than $1, and the market is still asleep. JPMORGAN is slowly making progress in the meantime. There are people who want you to make a sale. They think you won't even notice it. The facts, on the other hand, is now more clear. These are the drawings for the whale wallets that are being shown. This is being done to find the lines for cold storage when it's impossible to hide the truth. There are going to be separate groups of people. Not everyone sold their XRP to the biggest bank in the world for a very small amount of money. Some people decided to keep it. What are the next steps then? If these claims turn out to be true, the way that institutions think about XRP is likely to change in a big way. It won't be seen as a risky alternative coin by most people. Instead, they will think of it as a rare thing that is important for world banking. Its price won't be set by talk about speculation. Instead, it will depend on what the organizations need. If someone gets even a small amount, they will have what could become the most expensive digital asset in the world.